our standing position, if that feels good for you this morning. Your feet about outer hip distance apart. Man, that was really funny. I was going on and on about kidney one. Let's have one hand on the lower abdomen, the other hand on top. And we'll just take a moment now, regroup, re-find our center. Let the shoulders melt down away from the ears. And see if you can kind of rock back and forth from the heels towards the toes. And you want to find where the center is. And if you were to pick a point on the sole of the foot that I really want to focus on grounding down, it's that point, kidney one. It's the first point on the kidney channel. So if you were to find the ball of your foot right where it intersects and meets the arch, that's a point called kidney one. And raise the bubbling spring. So it's connected to the earth, right? It's the very bottommost point of all of the acupuncture points. And it's really great to reduce anxiety because it's firmly planted on the ground. It helps descend energy from our head if there's a lot of anxiety or rumination, just not feeling grounded. It's really good to do some breath work and focusing on that point. So let's just take a moment here. Let the abdomen be nice and soft. And as we inhale, it swells out. And then exhale, pulls back in towards the spine. And then inhale. And exhale. It's feeling the soles of your feet connected below. And then gently allowing with each breath, as your lungs expand, the diaphragm descends, and it's gently giving our lower abdominal organs a nice massage. And then let's open our eyes. So I thought we'd do a variation of knocking on the door of life called bear walking. The only difference is that there's a slight weight shift right to left. So we're still knocking across the lower abdomen and the lower back, but that slight weight shift creates a gentle opening in the hips. So you might want to come to the ball of the foot that's coming off, not off the ground, but as your weight shifts over to the left, come to the ball of your right foot, or you can keep your feet a little more planted, but there is that slight weight shift. And it's a little bit more of a grounding, knocking on the door of life. So we don't necessarily work our way up to below the collarbone or the top of the shoulders. We'll just focus the energy right now on the lower abdomen and the lower back. And gently opening up the hips. I was thinking about the bears because we love putting bird feeders out, but we learned very quickly that as soon as the bears come out of hibernation, they definitely will eat the birds. Sometimes the bird feeders themselves. We found our bird feeders trashed all over across the woods. So I was feeding the birds today and thinking that we have maybe 2 more months or so. But this is to honor our bears that are sleeping soundly, hopefully. And we get to enjoy all the birds at the bird feeder. Just back and forth, gently opening, gently creating some energy up the spine. And let's start to unwind. Okay, and we'll continue with the Bear Frolics. This one is a variation of spinal cord breathing. So we're going to turn to your left, and as you do, come to the ball of your right foot, and then with loose wrists, we're just going to raise the arms up just underneath the chin, keeping the wrists and the fingers nice and relaxed. And then as we come back to the center, exhale back down the center. And now we'll rotate over to the right, come to the ball of the left foot, and then inhale, raise your hands up by your head. So you're opening up the spine, and then back to the center and exhale. So we turn, rotate, inhale, float the arms up, nice loose wrists. So if they're gripping, just let them go. And then inhale, look up. Exhale, back down. And inhale. And exhale. A few more times. Really feeling a nice, gentle opening in the front of the body. And then as we come back to the center, that real soft exhalation as the arms float back down. So turning and then a gentle opening. And then back to the center and down. And then over to the right, center, down. Let's do that one more time to each side. This feels really good today. Just also gently starting to work energy through the shoulders, right? So if you have shoulder stuff going on, you can keep your arms a little bit lower, or if they just feel like they're tight, they need to stretch, then maybe go a little higher. And then let's bring our hands to our chi ball just for a minute. The shoulders melt down. And then we haven't done monkey washes the fruit for a while, but because there's so much going on, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot going on, and this is really great to help just calm our minds down from the information and everything that's swirling around, just to kind of help bring everything back to the center. So you're gonna have your palms face down, and what you're gonna do is start agitating your hands back and forth. Like think about you have like some kind of cloth that's all soiled and you're putting it in water. You want to agitate it to get some of the soil to release. So we're just stay here for a moment. So this is shaking to kind of agitate things that are coming up that have been stuck in our brains and getting them to flow down and out the hands into that water. And then you're going to gently bring the back of the hands towards one another, they're not touching. And then inhale, you're going to bring them up to about shoulder height. And then if this feels good for you, raise up to the balls of your feet. And then come back down and then exhale softly all the way back down. We'll add on to that, but we'll do that a few more times just like that. So we'll wash the mind, wash the agitation, the ruminations, the worries, at least for a moment, right? To get some clarity in the mind. And then slowly inhale as the arms float up to shoulder height, come up to the balls of your feet. This is really good for balance. And then exhale back down. And again, shake, shake, shake. Shake those hands back and forth. It's like the monkeys jumping from limb to limb to limb really quickly. It's like the thoughts come in and they seem to have no ending. So here's just, we're creating a washing away, and then inhale this time as we rise up. Stay at the balls of your feet if that feels okay. And then just gently look over to the left and then back to the center. and then gently over to the right, back to the center, and then down. If you end up losing your balance and coming down to your heels, that's fine. Just come back up. We regain our center and then continue. We'll do that again. So wash, wash, wash. And then slowly inhale. This time we will turn to the right. Stay in the balls of your feet as we come back to the center, and then over to the left, and then back to the center, and then down. There's also another reason why we do that balance and looking right and left. It's really hard for the monkey mind to be going through those thoughts when we're engaging in our bodies and attention in that way, especially balance. We'll do that one more time. Right? It kind of refocuses our attention to what's happening right now. And then inhale, rise up, look over to the left, back to the center, over to the right, back to the center, and then one last time, we'll come back down. Let's just shake one more time. We won't rise up. One last shake, and then let's take a moment, close your eyes, just see what's happening inside, sensing what's happening internally. Okay, now let's see. Let's do a little bit of let's do a little clearing. So arms out to the sides, take a nice inhale, and then exhale. And again, inhale, exhale. Now this time we'll turn on the exhale. So we inhale to the center, exhale to the left, right, excuse me, inhale, and then exhale to the left. And then there's a bending and straightening of the knees. So bend and straighten, bend and straighten, bend and straighten, bend and straighten. Like a little pumping action. So even if you weren't actively moving your arms, if I'm just pumping my legs, my arms automatically start doing that. A little bit of mini version. So we're just emphasizing that pumping action, releasing the space between the shoulder blades, the back of the neck, where we tend to hold tension. And then we'll start to slow down. And then we'll come back to the center. Maybe you are feeling a little bit lighter inside. And let's do a little spreading the feathers now. So we're going to gather. So we'll start hands outstretched in front of us. And then we're just going to gather energy in and then extend the hands down. So we inhale, pulling in, and then spiral the hands down towards the earth so the fingers are facing down. And then again, inhale. And then as we straighten up tall, we exhale the fingers towards the earth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And now this time, let's keep the fingers stretched down towards the earth. Let our heads tilt over to the left. And then very gently inhale. Let's let the head roll towards the back of the shoulder, and then exhale towards the front. Just back and forth, oscillating, releasing on the exhale. Right? These spaces where we hold tension, muscles are contracted. And the only way a muscle can maintain contraction is if it's being fed energy in the form of ATP. So if we're constantly contracted, especially in the shoulders, but elsewhere, we're actually using energy to maintain that contraction. So the more we can become aware of where we're holding contractions, maybe too much or unnecessarily, we can work to release it. It actually frees up energy. So you might find that you're not so depleted at the end of the day. And then let's exhale all the way to the front, and then let's come over to the right shoulder. And exhale, let everything melt away, melt and open, and then roll the head to the back of the shoulder and to the front. So the goal, right, is to open up and free areas of stagnation where energy is kind of bunched and bound up and contracted. Because the more we release and open, blood flows, lymph flows, energy flows, we feel better, our organs function more optimally, more oxygen is delivered to the cells. And then one more inhale, and this time we'll exhale, let the head roll down, come upright, and relax. So that was stretching one side of the arms and the neck. Now we'll gather behind us. And when we gather behind us, the palms will spiral forward so that our fingers will still be facing towards the earth, but at the end of the movement, the palms will be forward. So we inhale, gather behind you, and then pull in, and then reach down. So gather, spiral the hands in, and then stretch the fingers down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. And let's keep the fingers stretched towards the earth now. So we'll still be moving in the same direction, at least in terms of our head positioning. But you should feel a little difference in the stretch because our arms are now externally rotated. So let your head gently roll to the back of the shoulder on the inhale, and then exhale to the front of the shoulder. So we're just stretching different meridian lines too. And then on the next exhale, let's bring the head forward and all the way over to the right shoulder. And then inhale to the back. Exhale to the front. And then on the next exhalation, let your head come all the way forward, drop the arms, relax the arms down, and then Maybe close your eyes and just notice if you see or feel an increase or sense an increase in openness down through the arms. Maybe a heightened sense of tingling. Or a warm sensation. That's your chi. And then let's let the arms float down. Let's shake everything out. We're going to go into our flows now. I'm excited for this one because it looks very similar to Moon Over the Lake, but it's called Sunrise Over the Lake, since I think Sunday is the new moon. So we're going to be in complete darkness. So we're going to add in some sunlight internally, right? Just like yin and yang, to balance the darkness, to activate some heat within the cold environment outside. Let everything go. A little pumping action in the knees, really great, right? We don't have a heart down there. Heart's really great at pumping up from here to the body, but the return flow, the venous flow, really requires us to be contracting our muscles, especially of the lower body. That's why movement is so important. So we're helping to facilitate a return flow of that, in addition to shaking off, certain energies or worries or anxieties from our brain. And then start to slow down. Okay, so the first flow, we're going to come to just a bit of a wider stance. Not so wide, like moving the body like a river, but maybe like in between. So if this is outer hip distance apart, just maybe 2 feet in between. And then keep the knees bent. Really ground down through kidney 1, that point where the ball intersects with the arch. And then let your palms be upright, and imagine that you're resting the back of your hands. So you don't want your hands too high up, because we're going to have to be contracting our biceps. Just imagine that you can just float your arms down so the shoulders are able to relax, and that imagine you're resting the back of your hands on the surface of a lake. So a cool lake as the sun is starting to come up. And then we'll start first just by shifting the weight to the left foot and the right foot. So shifting the weight, you'll notice the arms will naturally glide across. Just imagine that we're just tracing the surface of that lake, maybe mid-morning, back and forth. And as we create this movement on the surface of this lake, we're simultaneously creating the same type of movement internally. We are 70% water, I think. So we're helping to harness this quality of water flow, creating that resonance internally. Now, as we come over to the right, so your weight should be more on your right foot. You're going to inhale the arms up the right, come over to the center. So your body is right at the center, and then shift the weight over to the left foot. The hands start to descend, and right before they hit the surface of the water, turn so your palms are face up again. And then shift the weight over to the right. We're going to inhale, keeping the wrists nice and relaxed, over to the left, and then exhale. Palms float so they're facing up, and then gliding over again to the right. So imagine that there's this beautiful sunlight that's creating this beautiful pattern on the surface of water. Little sparkles of sunlight. And we're just gliding our hands across the sparkly surface of the water, drawing energy from the sun, feeling those light rays reach down, and again, creating this sparkly light across the water. Keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. So inhale, like nice and slowly, softness, exhale, and then across. So again, the breath as we inhale up and around, and then exhale down and across. And as we come across, that sunlight beams down, we turn our palms facing up, feeling those rays of sunshine through the palms. That warm glow. And then let's let the hands float down. Let's come back to the center for a moment, palms face up. We will have to go in the opposite direction. So let's just stay centered here, but just shifting the weight back and forth. Again, reconnecting with this palm, the back of the hands resting on the surface of this body of shimmery water. And feeling that same shimmery light internally. Imagine that same shimmer is happening across this lake is happening in our bodies that are also primarily water. Like a dissolving of our physical body and an awareness of the energy of the body. Now we'll come up as we come over to the left. Raise the hands up. Now we'll come in the opposite direction over to the right. Arms float down, palms face up, and then across again. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Also a reminder that nothing is absolute. The whole Tai Chi symbol, the black and white symbol within almost like looks like two fishes that are chasing each other's tails. Within the predominantly white side, there's a little black dot. And then within the predominantly black side, there's a little dot of white. This is a reminder that within darkness, there is always a spark of light and vice versa. And that life is the constant transformation of energy. And let's come back to the center. We'll just go back and forth a couple more times, nice and slowly. Gliding across the surface of water. And then let's come back to the center and let's hold our chi ball for a moment. You can bring your feet a little bit closer again. Let me see where we are. Perfect. So palms facing one another. Really the center of the palms is a point called QiGong. And if you were to curl your fingers in, if you were to take your thumb and your index finger on the outer portion of your hand, some people feel it, the space between the index finger and the middle finger, some people between the middle finger and the ring finger, but there's a bunch of bones and tendons and ligaments, but QiGong is the center of the palm. When we do QiGong or even energy work, that's the point that we focus on. So we can even give that point a little massage with steady, firm pressure with our thumbs towards the middle finger. It's helping to activate. So you can see what I'm doing. You want to have steady pressure. So it's not moving it surface level on the skin. You press down. So I'm pressing it. I'm feeling almost connecting to the finger on the other side. If you press in and then move it, almost like you're moving the underlying fascia just subtly towards the middle finger, and then release and then press again. So you're moving energy away through or towards that middle finger. So if you do that for about a minute, it's almost like creating a vacuum, right? As we push, we're drawing energy down through that whole channel. And then you can switch sides. Again, firm pressure. Doesn't have to be a big movement. It's more about the steady pressure and the intention of moving from the center just towards that middle finger and releasing tension in that fascia, creating some micro space. And now if you bring your palms together, focusing on connecting those 2 points, that's the center of the chi ball, or where the focus is in creating the chi ball. And then from here, I think we did this last time, and if not, I did it in a physical class, in-person class. We're going to imagine that as we're holding this chi ball between our hands, there's a mirror image or a ball of light at the base of the spine. Think about right below, right where the perineum is. And then we're going to basically be imagining that we're moving that ball up the back of the spine, up the lumbar, the thoracic, the cervical spine, to the crown of the head. And that little ball of light, we imagine traveling down the front, the forehead, into the upper palate, down the throat, and down the center front of the spine, all the way back down to the pelvic floor. So we're creating that little circuit. And then we'll be mirroring that with our hands. So imagine your chi ball here. And then we're going to just gently inhale, raise it up. So you're not touching your body, you're a couple of inches away, all the way up. And then as we exhale, you're coming just in front of your body, all the way back down. So this is called turning the wheel. So inhale. Those 2 points are still connected, right? The QiGong points. We're inhaling, moving that energy up the back of the spine to the crown of the head, and then down through the forehead, the upper palate, the throat, the chest, solar plexus, abdomen, all the way back down. So inhale, we draw it up the back. The yang part of the body is the back. And then we descend down the front, the yin aspect of our body. And I'm bending my knees just slightly as we come down. And then as we inhale and rise up, drawing energy up the back of the spine, standing a little bit taller. And then exhale again down the front. So establishing this real beautiful flow of energy, circulating chi. Nourishing the door of life. Right? As we come up, we pass right through the door of life. The kidneys, the adrenals, we come up the back. And then a soothing descension down the front. Just a few more times. So we inhale. And exhale. Keeping our awareness, our mindfulness on this moment, on the sensations, the space between the palms, the inner vision of that light moving up the back of the spine. Nourishing our brain. This place called the Crystal Palace. It's basically right in the middle of the brain at the level of the third eye, our consciousness. And as we descend, we're calming the mind, calming the heart, soothing the emotions. And then on the next exhalation, just let your hands gently come back to the center, our chi ball again, and gently move the hands away from one another, feeling that those 2 points connected, even as we pull them apart, and then feel the connection maybe growing even stronger as we pull them back in towards one another. And then drop the arms down. And we'll inhale the arms down, around and up. And exhale very slowly. So imagine you're clearing any residual agitation out of the mind, any turbulence out of the heart center, and then grounding back down through those 2 points on each foot, kidney 1. Inhale. Just a few more times. Think about smoothing out this protective bubble that you have around you. Smoothing any ripples or wrinkles. And on the next exhalation, at the end of the exhalation, let's bring the feet together, one hand on top of the other. And we'll give ourselves just a moment, feeling really centered and rooted, mind clear and reflective. Of what's happening right here and now in this actual space that you are residing in.